There are many amps that I would say are iconic. AC30s, Plexis, dual rectifier, you know, the list goes on and on. But I could count on one hand the number of preamps that I would say are iconic. And at the top of the heap must be the Soldano X88R. It was introduced around 87, 88. Bob Bradshaw, Mike Soldano, of course, Soldano amplifiers, Steve Lukather, Michael Landau. These were the players swirling around this preamp. And as a young and impressionable guitar player, it was like Excalibur. This purple, 3 rows of knobs in a rack the size of my mom. It was incredible. And, you know, there was a time when racks went away. But racks are back. I heard that Soldano was bringing out the X88R again. And I was so happy. I was happy for rack culture and guitar culture because rack is awesome. It is so awesome. But I thought, I have an X88R. I hope they do it justice. I hope they still do the purple anodized faceplate. I hope it sounds like the X88R. But I don't need it. You know, I have an X88R. And then I heard it. It's like, dang it, I need it. Because let me tell you, folks, the original is phenomenal. But the X88IR is better. Why is it better? You can't say it's better. It's new. No, it's better. Let's be truthful here for a minute. The reason racks went away is because they collectively weighed 120 pounds. You needed 2 to 3 people to move them. It was very difficult to wire up. And once it was wired up, do not touch anything. And just buying a legendary preamp did not get you to the finish line. You couldn't get sound out of it without getting a great power amp. And your tone was so dependent on that power amp as well. And that is where the X88IR comes in, and that is where they fixed everything. Let's take a quick comparison look at the original and the new Soldano X88IR. These are equally beautiful with that luscious purple anodized faceplate. Love it. And the layout stays true to the original Soldano X88 layout. You're going to notice off to the right here, there are more knobs. But check out on the X88IR, the master section off to the right. Now you have a master volume to control the entire level groupings. That's really helpful rather than incrementally turning up channel 1 and channel 3 to try and match it. There's a headphone out. We'll get more to that in a minute. And you'll see underneath there is IR selection. That is because the X88IR is a complete and comprehensive recording amplifier. Now, to be clear, you can't plug the X88IR into a speaker cab. You won't get any sound. You need a power amp still. It is a full classic tube preamp, just like the old ones. However, now there's also a digital back end. So from the preamp, it goes into digital power amp simulation and a complete IR section. It ships with some of the best IRs I've ever heard, and they're voiced for the X88IR. And now each of the 3 channels has alternate modes. We'll get more into that in a moment. When you flip the X88IR around, you'll see there's a USB port, so you can access the online editor. This is very similar to those Synergy-powered online editors for the IRX, IRJ. There's a stereo effects loop, and there are multiple outputs, so you could run both to your power amp and to the front of house, or as what I will be doing is putting it straight into my desk rack. That will become one of my primary direct recording devices, but I'll also have the ability to run it out to a power amp and mic up a cab. Now let's plug in and dig a little deeper. As revolutionary and amazing sounding as the original X88R was, I can't believe I'm saying this, there was some room for improvement. And of course, it was the first of its kind. Now, channel 2 on the original didn't have a lot of gain. It was a crunch channel, but it was coming out of the 80s. Crunch meant like... And that was your crunch sound. Then the X88 has this mind-blowing channel 3. Now, wouldn't it be amazing if you could have a heavier crunch sound like channel 3? It's all here and all available. Channels 2 and 3 are duplicates of each other. So if you want the classic sort of just like cranked plexi kind of tone, you can get it, but you could also have the heaviest rhythm tone and that searing lead tone, or a bluesier channel 2 and just a hotter blues channel 3, whatever you like. That is just the greatest thing ever. That channel 2 has also been improved with more gain and just a sweeter tone. Still full Soldano sound, full X88 sound, just kind of like shifted a little better. Check this out now. That's all still in the purple crunch zone. Now over here, you have a bright and a fat switch. So I've been in the bright because I like that for sort of the more crunchy sounds. Take it off. And then you've got a fat switch here. Starts getting nice and chubby. Now, if you want to go heavier than that, you just select overdrive and you'll see the channel LED switch from purple to red. Sustains forever. And I'm constantly forgetting that I'm not plugged into an amp in another room with the speaker blasting. It just feels complete. And the best part about not having a speaker mic'd up in the other room is you could change things on the fly. Impulse response section here, there's 6 available from the front panel. When we go into the editor, there's a bunch more. Check this out, how quickly you could transform already awesome tones. I mean, if it had one impulse response, you'd be set, but you could contour this to whatever you like. Let's just go to the next one, which is a little heavier and more scooped sounding. Transformative, and that's just swapping between two. We could go into more open back ones or more balanced. Sky's the limit. And because you have two channels that can switch between crunch and overdrive, or that heavy gain mode, you could do cool things like set them both up for overdrive, but use a separate impulse. So you'll get one that's a little more mid-range focused, and then you'll get the other that is a little more scooped and heavy. Now you may have noticed I didn't use a foot switch to change channels on this preamp. Look at this. Like that guy? Oh no, let's go to channel 3. How about channel 1 again? Channel 2. And it's easily switchable by a MIDI foot switch, so that's easy. But look at this. This is just the best. Oh, you want crunch at the bottom? Yeah, now it's purple. It shows you what you're on. And you could do all of this from the control editor. Furthermore, inside this software, you have high pass filter, low pass filter, depth bump, another presence bump, your full array of IRs. There's a lot more contouring you could do inside this editor. Let's just listen to a couple of those sounds. That sounds like it needs a little reverb. Let's open up the effects loop and throw a little PCM 70 in there. Classic combination. The effects loop is not switchable. It's always on when something's plugged in, but you can always run through some kind of rack mixer, right? Or, you know, if you're running pedals, then you just true bypass them out. Inside the IR editor is also where you'll save your presets. So if you're switching from an external editor, I mean, you could create an infinite amount of sounds between all of the power amp switching and the IRs and the different modes and things like that. And then you could add your other external effects, which will also get controlled and switched in and out at the same time with your external MIDI editor. Now, channel 1 on the X88 was probably used as much as channel 3, that soaring lead tone. These clean tones are crystal clear in channel 1 normal mode. Channel 1 on the original X88 never really bridged that gap to channel 2, but now we have the altered mode, which gets a little more sort of like classic clean, but it also breaks up and gets dirty, which is great. You already hear the bottom end is a little sweeter. Then it breaks up really nicely. From there, I'd probably check out one of the other IRs, right? There's a lovely pair of 112 IRs at the end of the dial here, 5 and 6. These are Soldano. The first one's closed, and then 6 is an open back. Honestly, I could go on forever dialing in awesome tones on the X88IR, but remember, like, it's still direct. We haven't even plugged it through as an amp in a cab yet. So I'll do that real quick because, like, I don't know, what's the point at this point? That's the IR part of the X88IR. It sounds great direct. Like, I am missing nothing. So let's plug it in. There you have it, gang. The new Soldano X88IR in beautiful purple. Oh, yeah, so nice. I don't know what else to say. It's awesome.